Good morning, one and all. Mr. S.V. Nathan is the Talent Director for Deloitte US Firms in India with over 27 years of professional experience in human resource management and working across businesses such as manufacturing services, telecom, information technology. Sir led the team that helped in building talent of the Deloitte US Firms in India. He graduated in mathematics and did his post-graduation from XLRI Jamshedpur. Apart from his responsibilities at Deloitte, Sir serves as a fellow at Sumedha, a not-for-profit education and research body organization development. He is acknowledged as a good teacher within the community. He serves the National HR Development Network on the National Board and is also the Regional President South. He is the current chairman of the Hyderabad chapter of Global In-House Center Forum of NASSCOM. Sir has been conferred several awards for his work in HR, including the prestigious honor of HR Role Model of the Year 2011 by the Star TV network. Most recently, on September 6, 2012, he was awarded the 3rd Tarun Seth National Award for Ethical Leadership and Innovation by the AP-AC HR Congress. He was also recognized as one of the top 25 HR leaders in the country at that event. Sir, we are really glad to have you here. The stage is all yours.
So good morning, everybody. One of the things I want to do when I go to sleep, I see that, I've come to Balaji school and I'm very, very fortunate to see all of you. And I'm hoping that by this time, in the next 5 minutes, you'll all go to sleep and we can contribute a lot to the armed forces. I was really hoping that I would see some eyes droop and people will fall asleep, and there would be a massive amount of money that we would have collected by the end of today. Be that as it may, what a fantastic morning for today. I feel very, very privileged standing in front of you. I was sitting out there trying to take a couple of photographs, hoping that I would see at least one face out there which could have gone to sleep a wee bit. I think it's more like a challenge of some sort. First of all, I want to tell you, it feels really good just standing here and looking at the number of people who are India's brightest minds. Okay, people, here is what I want you to do. First of all, I want to meet this young lady called Pragya. So Pragya, will you please step up? And just stand here. So I met Pragya when she came to receive me. And these days I'm a little careful. So as soon as I land, I ask those people, where are you from? And then I would say, can you give me a call? Because then I got those numbers noted. I don't want to make the same mistake that happened 10 years ago. Or 15 years ago. 15 years ago, there were too many symbioses. They're not anymore different today. I had no idea where I was going. 2 people came in. They all looked very, very professional. They hijacked me in a car and they went away. Later, I came to know that I came to the wrong symbiosis. Much later, I was very happy that I went to the right symbiosis because I met some very outstanding people. I'm going to speak about them in a moment. But this lady is a person that I truly respect. When I met her and I asked her who she was, she said, I'm a student manager. I love that. So Pragya, thank you very much. Thank you. My belief fundamentally is you must have self-esteem. You want to be a good professional. It doesn't matter whether you are in human resources or any other field. You need to have self-esteem. You must believe in yourself. Do you believe in yourself?
Yes, sir.
Oh, that's good. I did see a few people saying, oh, me, my. Self-esteem is very important. Here is what I want you to do. The person sitting on your right or left, I want you to tap them on the back and say, congratulations. Go ahead. Congratulations. Well done. Congratulations. Fantastic. Hey guys, don't take the opportunity of, yeah? Feels good, isn't it? Congratulations, because I believe that your neighbors are as good as you are because you are all part of Balaji society. Congratulations, because I believe that the people sitting in front of me are people who are outstanding leaders for tomorrow as they are of today. And I say this in all sincerity. I met the general in the morning and he asked me a question. Does your organization allow you the luxury of traveling to many places, meeting students, and speaking to them, because I'm sure it is a long, busy day? And I said there are really two institutes that I don't miss going. One of them is my alma mater, and the other one is Balaji. So he, out of curiosity, asked me, what is it about Balaji that draws you? It's a long story. It's a story of affection. It's a story of love. It's a story of grace. But the one that I care more about is the story of competence, which is what brings me here. Because some of the student managers that have joined our organization are doing an outstanding job. And when I say outstanding job, they are much better than the people who come from the institute where I belong. So I come to this place as much as it is for Bala sir. I come to this place because I believe we have outstanding talent that we can choose from. What I'm about to do in the next few minutes is try to find a way to really put you to sleep. Because I'm very inspired by what Bala said, mentioned. It's very challenging. It's very difficult. It is almost impossible to speak after people who are so well versed, people who have led large contingents of people, people who are the generals and colonels of yesteryears come in and speak. And if you ask me to speak, it's a little difficult. Because it's almost like when a general speaks, and then after that you find that a major is speaking, then there is a bit of a thing. The major's got to really do some real, you got to work very, very hard, General, to speak after what you said about parachutes and all that. So this is a major looking at all the soldiers in front, and to draw their attention back, the major says to all the soldiers, soldiers, the generals have made some general points. The major will now make some. Thank you very much. So, what I'm about to do is to talk to you about learning. We know where the world economy is. We know what's going to happen all around the place. And you're all sitting in trepidation, wondering, where is my next job going to come from? Care not about where your next job is going to come from. Jobs will chase you. I'm going to tell you two words. These two words are going to change your life. First of all, how many of you really like a good job? Raise your hands. Good job. Terrific. Okay, thank you. How many of you want lots of money? Lots of money. Standing from here, I could see all this. When I say lots of money, your face lights up like an incandescent bulb there. Okay. How many of you have got into some kind of tiff at home or elsewhere and you want to patch up? These two words will get you there. How many of you are aspiring or already are in a relationship that is kind of slightly rocky and now you want to get back? Okay? Don't raise your hands, okay? I don't want anybody to be. I will give you two words that will make everything come easy. For all those people, our senior colleagues out here, our teachers, our gurus, I'm sure, sirs, you may have tried very hard in your life to change some habit of your spouse and failed, as they may have tried for you and likewise failed. But I'm going to give you two words that is going to change all of that. So are you all game to listen to me? Yeah. They're all wondering. But in case I forget to mention those, please ask me. Okay? You say, hey, you told me about these two words. What are these two words? I'm going to come back to that. I'm going to talk to you about what you can do to apply your learning when you are here at Balaji. So this is all about apply. A-P-P-L-Y. Apply. Okay? First of all, if you really want to get somewhere, aspire. Aspire. You need to need something. So here is the story of a young soldier who decided that the only way that he's got to move up in his life is to work hard, to gather all the knowledge that he should, and at some stage in his life, he wanted to give it back to society, and so he joined a place. Now, people who were part of his life journey were so impressed with him, so they always used to go to him and say, hey, can you teach me this, and can you teach me that, can you teach me this, can you teach me that? He was a person who used to feel very comfortable teaching very senior officers' children because that's the way he wanted to go. One day, he decided to join an educational institute. Some things happened along the way, and then he decided, well, I need to expand my horizon. I am going to set up my own school. When he went to set up that own school, I remember I was part of that journey because I happened to be one of the first few to come and visit that college, which was really a hired campus. But what was very inspiring to me was the vision of this soldier. The vision of the soldier was spectacular. It was not small. And this is a soldier, he didn't want anything for himself. Here is a soldier who said, all I want to do is I want to create a very large infrastructure for the children of armed forces, because that was the intent with which he started. Today, I feel extremely happy because that dream of that soldier then is the reality of today. I bow to you, Professor Balaji. Thank you so much. All right. It doesn't come easy. Yesterday I asked him, I said, so how are you going back? He said, I'll go buy a car. What car do you have? He said, I don't know, must be some car. So then anyway, I escorted him to his car, which was a very royal I-20. And I've known people who with less would want to cavorate with the big Benzes and the BMWs. I don't know if you've ever seen people like that. He's still a very simple man at heart. Aspire. Have a dream. Because this is a dream that's going to get you way, way, way up ahead. I think this is a very important part. If you really want to succeed in your life, aspire, and you got to know what you want. Sometimes I'm stymied because we start somewhere, we can go someplace else, but you got to aspire. You got to say, this is what I truly want. I'm going to come back to you on that. The second thing that I want to talk to you is perspire. And don't blame the infrastructure of this college to say, you know what, the fans are not good, the ACs are not good, I'm going to perspire anyway. Work hard. I think many years ago, I used to study in Nagpur. Anybody from Nagpur here? Oh my God, there's a lot of people from Nagpur. Very good to see you Nagpuris. Very good. So I studied in a school called SFS School and SFS College, and I was a boarder there. And there was a gentleman who used to be with us. I remember his name, even today, his name is Asit Gwyn. Now Asit was a person who used to play the whole evening with us. In the evenings, if he ever get some time, he would go read a storybook. And about 9 o'clock sharp, he used to get to his books. And his deal was very simple. He used to say, I seem to have lost 5 good hours by either going and playing out here or just hanging around or watching a movie. I've got to get back these 5 hours. And he used to sit late at night from 9 o'clock all the way down, because I believe that's the most important thing that he had to do. So imagine, somebody says, I've lost 5 hours and I'm going to come back to that. Can you imagine that? Yeah. The third thing I'm going to talk to you about is, first is aspire, second is perspire, which is if you have lost some hours, find a way to gain those 5 hours, because those are going to be a game changer in your life. Read. What will you read? Things which are important to you. Read. Apply that learning. I can see a lot of people out there talking among themselves out there, madam. The only courtesy that you can extend to anybody is the gift of your attention, ma'am. The gift of your attention. That's all you can do. So I'd be very grateful if you can, for the next few minutes, I promise not to put you to sleep. If I put you to sleep, know that this is for a larger cause. The third thing I want to talk to you about is persist. Never give up. Never ever give up. So here is a story that goes way, way back. I remember that here was this guy who wanted to run the 10K run. 10K. And he had practiced really very, very hard in Hyderabad. Anybody from Hyderabad here? Okay, a few people from Hyderabad. Thank you. If you're from Hyderabad, you would certainly know there's a very nice lake that we have called Hussain Sagar. Now, Hussain Sagar, if you do one chakkar of that, it's about 10 kilometers. So there was this 10K run. This person had prepared really hard, and at the end of really some 2 months of rigorous practice, he wanted to go and win the Hyderabad 10K run for his company. There were over 500 people from his company, and he was going to run the 10K run. At that day, 7 o'clock in the morning when the race was going to start, the organizers, for some strange reason, decided that it is not going to start at 7. But the young man had already, kind of warmed himself up, and nothing could be done. So suddenly, at 7:15, the organizer said, let's run 10K. And the flag was up. Some of you in the audience must be athletes, people who have participated in sports. Yes? Can you raise your hands? Runners, very good. Very, very impressive to see a lot of you here. You would know what I mean when you have to warm up and warm down. Unfortunately, this guy, he had warmed down, by which time they said, off you go. So he started the race. When he started the race, he found that he had a cramp. It was a bad cramp. It was so bad that he just could do nothing about it. And he caught hold of his leg and he tried to hobble away to his side. Fortunately for him, there was another person, a good friend of his, who said, I'm sure that you can do a little bit. You have to complete this race. By which time a lot of people had already gone in front of him. And I was watching this man holding his leg in pain because he just could not run. Then something happened to him. And this is something that I gleaned from him much later. The young man caught hold of his leg and he said, I'm going to hobble to the green flag which is 15 paces ahead. So he hobbled and he hobbled and he hobbled and he went in and he went up to this place which was the green flag. And then he hobbled and hobbled and hobbled and he went to the red flag. And he hobbled and hobbled and hobbled and he went to the violet flag. And then he said, I'm going to go 2 flags down. And he was hobbling. At some stage he said, I can see that row of houses there and I'm going to run all the way to those houses. And then he started to hobble, hobble, hobble. At the end of 40 minutes, this man breasted the tape at the finishing line. It was one of the finest moments because when he breasted that tape, 43 minutes from where he had started when he could hardly walk, he realized that he had stood second of all the 500 people from his company that had participated in that race. It was one of the finest moments of my life because on that day I realized I could not only hobble but I could also run and stand second. It taught me a couple of things that day. One, when you're going to run, first of all, have a very good person who's a friend of yours. Because this person can goad you and coax you and say, don't give up. I never gave up. All I wanted to do was run to the green flag, the red flag, and so on. By the time I finished, I found that I had done exceedingly well. Personally, for me, I never give up. And I'm not a very aggressive guy either. Huh? Never give up. Never give up. Life is not to give up. So I talked to you about aspire. I talked to you about perspire. I talked to you now about being persistent. The 4th thing I want to talk to you about is learning. So this learning is something that I think is very different. First of all, what I like about Balaji is you don't do the normal things that many other institutes do, which is just keep at your studies and you got to clear all these electives and selectives and all that stuff. You have to participate. Learning is of 3 kinds. Learn for your competence building. Learn for your competence building. That's the first thing that you got to do. You got to be competent in whatever that you do. Learn to be competent. You have to be competent. If you're not, then it's like selection grade. If you don't pass this minimum, then you don't get there. That's the first thing you got to do. Second, find out what is your deepest interest. The deepest interest that you have is the one that's going to get you along. Whatever that interest be. Whatever that your interest be, that's the second most important thing. The third one that I will talk to you about is exposure. Not experience. Experience is what happens to you. If you lose, then it was a bad experience. If you win, it is a very pleasant experience. What you need is not experience. Experience is what happens to you. Exposure is what you should seek. What should you seek as exposure? Find an opportunity to be on a project where you will meet. For example, yesterday a couple of people came over. I forget the name of the gentleman who came with me, but he was kind of dreamy-eyed because I asked him, I said, what is the dream in your eye? And this young man, he said, sir, I'm dreaming that one day I will be coming down from a plane and there will be people to receive me like the way I'm doing for you. And I said, wow, that's very nice. So what do you want to do? He said, I want to do my PhD and I want to do this and I think a life which is about learning is a life which is about liking what you do, being exceedingly competent. The third one is exposure. Get myriad things coming your way. If you're on a project, remember that's the greatest gift that has been given to you. If you want to do well in your life, then do as you're told. It's an important part of our growing up. So I'll tell you the story of a friend of mine called Shiva Kumar. Now Shiva and I were working in my first job, which was ICI, a British multinational. He was, of course, far more clever than I was. He was from IIM Ahmedabad. He also happened to school from IIT Madras. But more than anything, Shiva was a very cool guy. I mean, he was the guy who hung around in the evening, and we befriended an army officer who used to live very close by, and this was in some village which was in Bihar. So the reason why we befriended these army officers is, I don't know whether you know this, maybe you do, the army officers have a quota of something which is rather useful in the evenings. So that's the reason why he was a good friend of ours. And Shiva was particularly partial to an old priest, which is also these days, you know, they go by a new name called old monk. Okay? So Shiva, but Shiva was a very clever guy. So he worked with us. We used to have long evenings. And always he used to say, I'm missing something in my life, I'm missing something in my life. I asked him what he was missing. He says, I'm missing an exposure. I'm not getting what I want in this organization. He left us. He left a British multinational to go and join CRISIL. And I'm sure you would have heard of CRISIL in those days. CRISIL used to pay a princely sum of 10,000 rupees a month. Hold your breath. 10,000 rupees. When he was already earning 50,000 rupees. He said, I'll go to my office by bus, I don't care, I just need this exposure. He went and joined CRISIL. He stayed with CRISIL for 5 years, after which he left CRISIL and went to Moscow. And before he left for Moscow, I asked him, what takes you to Moscow? He says, now I'm going to make some money. So I said, what are you going to do with all this? He said, I'm going to get into commodity trading. What is the commodity? Oil. I said, do you know anything about oil? He said, I don't know, but I'm going to learn. Today, Shiva Kumar is often quoted. He was then quoted very extensively in Economic Times. Today, he must be one of the multi-billionaires of Moscow. Shiva left a deep impression on me because he taught me that it is not important for you to go and join a company which has top bucks. Don't go for a job which is going to pay you in excess. Go for a job which will give you that exposure that tomorrow you will find that you will make a lot of money. I talked to you about being aspirational. I talked to you about how it is to perspire, to persist, to learn. Learn that you have to get the right exposure. Learn that you got to work to your competence. Learn that you got to learn something that you truly like. The last one that I'm going to talk to you is earn. Y-E-A-R-N, earn. You must earn for something. So, I'm going to tell you another story. So many moons ago, I decided that I wanted to buy a house. I'm sure that many of you at some stage in your life will say, I want to buy a house. But right now, many of you are saying, hey, first of all, I need a job. The second thing you would say, after I get a job, the first thing I want to do is buy a bike. No, not a bike. I mean, these days bikes are very passive. I want to buy a car. The aspirations will start increasing. Then you say, I want a 2 BHK, maybe 1 studio. Then later you'll say, no, I want 2. Maybe my mother will come and stay with me. My parents will come in. I want a 3 BR. Your needs will grow. Mine was very simple. Not that I had too many houses or something. I wanted a house and I had a certain notion in my head that this is how it is. I went and started searching for houses. So I went to one of these big melas where they showed me large houses, and I particularly liked one. I asked him what was the cost. He told me that amount. And the moment he told me that amount, I almost fainted. I said, this much? He could see that expression on my face, and he said, he actually wanted to say, hey, Katle, this is not for you. And when I go to any of these melas, I don't get dressed with a jacket and shoes and all that. I just go as any normal human being. I just go. Then I looked at another house, which was all on paper, by the way. Everything is on paper. They have very nice artistic impressions of these houses. I saw that, and I said, how about this house? And he said, this is going to cost, and he quoted an amount which is almost 1.5 times what the other house cost. It was way beyond. This was almost obscene. But sometimes in your life, there is something that comes into your head. You want to play a prank. Right? Many of us want to do, humor that. So I told that guy, theek hai, I need this house. He didn't believe me. So I told him, yeah, I need this. And I said, where is your layout? So he showed that layout. And then I said, I like this house. Why did I like this house? Because it had a nice patch of green in front. There was a very nice lawn. On the right side, there was a swimming pool. And then there was a nice little clubhouse. And then it was, so the guy said, are you sure you're going to buy? I said, absolutely. This is the house I'm going to buy. And he was very pleased. I was very pleased because I was taking him for a ride. And then my wife was getting very nervous. She says, hey, listen, can you afford this? I said, I don't know whether I can afford it, but I can dream about it. What's wrong? I can dream about it. So I said, fix it. And then what I did was, with my pen, on the very nice catalog that he had, that catalog must be costing an arm and a leg, I put out a small into mark on that. I closed it and I walked out. It was gone. That thing stayed on in my mind. Nothing much happened after that. I went on and looked at very many other places. Finally homed in on a flat. I said, this is the place I want to go. My heart was not in it. My heart was not in it. But I went and bought that anyways. And I started to pay up all this stuff. Suddenly I discovered, to my chagrin, that was under huge dispute. So they stopped all that construction. Now I had lost a lot of money. Well, not really lost. This is there. It will come up someday. I know what it is. But I was in pain because I did not have a house. Finally, what happened was, fast forward again, about almost 3.5 years later, I said, forget all the flat, I'm going to get a house. What did I do? I caught hold of a guy from ICICI Bank and I said, come house hunting with me. I went and looked at possibly every conceivable project that you could have in Hyderabad. This man was really tired. It has taken 6 months. Every Saturday, Sunday was house hunting day. Early morning, get up, brush your teeth, this, that, snan karke. All you do is get into a small car and go house hunting. I couldn't find that house. Ultimately, I homed in on a house and this man said, sir, this is not right, but I think I know the kind of house that you need. He asked me, would you be willing to travel one last house? I told him that I'm tired, I don't want a house, I'm going to retire in my life without a house. It's perfectly okay. He said, there is one house which is up for sale. It's almost about 80% constructed. If you wish, you can try. So I said, yeah, I will try. So along with my wife, again, I had to do some persuasion. Remember, after 6 months, if you try the same thing with your spouse, it's not going to work. At least it didn't with mine. Because what I told her was, sunshine, one last house. Please, my sake. She said, what will you give me? I said, Bhaiya, I'll give you anything, man. Just come with me. So I persuaded her, went to see that place. It was a very nice house. I liked that house instantly. I said, oh boy, this is what I need. Then this man said, okay, now let's go and meet with the builder. So I went to meet the builder. The builder said, okay, this is the house. I also said, I want to see the catalog so that I know what are the specifications. So he pulled out a big one and he opened his catalog almost 4 years ago. So that house that I was buying was the house that was still waiting for me. I can tell you, my joy knew no bounds. Few things that happened. One, because of whatever, I must thank Obama and all these people once more, because of these guys, I was able to buy my house. The market crashed. So because the market crashed, the house which seemed impossible to buy was within my reach. But of course, I needed ICICI Bank. That is the house that I'm currently staying for the last 90 days. I will be completing 100 days in the next few, in about a week or so. I couldn't have been more happy because I believe that if you have set your mind, even in jest, because I thought I'm going to do this in jest, but it becomes a reality if you start to think about it. My learning from that entire stuff, my insight was, if you think about something and you say, this is what I need, you will get what you want. But that balance, that motivation must be really, really high. By the way, I met this gentleman called Mr. Ram Kumar. He's a very dear friend of mine. He worked for ICICI Bank as their executive director on the board. And I was having breakfast in his house when somebody came to his house and looked at me and said, who do you work for? Obviously, he was from ICICI Bank. Who do you work for? I looked at him proudly and I said, I work for ICICI Bank, but I work at Deloitte. Because all that I earn today goes there. So, I talked to you about aspire, persist, learn, earn. Because if you earn, if you drop the Y, you can also earn. Okay? So that is what I mean by how should you apply. One of the most important things, and a couple of things, and I will shut up, I promise. There was a research done to find out how many competencies there are in the world. Let us say there were 999 plus 1. And people wanted to find out, of all the competencies, which is what is going to get you to be the most successful in your life, this is the one. This tax is number 1 on that list. This is the one that's going to get you a job. This is the one that's going to get you a promotion. This is the one that's going to make your life happy. This is the one that can change your life. This competence, if you did not have, every other competence fails. This is the competence that I find Balaji is exceedingly good at. This is the competence that makes life different at Balaji. This is the competence because this is what makes you different from the rest of every other institute. This competence is discipline. This is the competence. So you can write this down many times. If you have to succeed in your life, just be disciplined. Just be disciplined. I mean, I'm very, very happy to see, a rows of very immaculately dressed ladies and gentlemen out here. It makes me feel very, very happy. So, more or less, I've come to the end of what I wanted to start talking to you about. If you really have to succeed in your life, all you have to do is apply your learning. I talked to you about all the A, P, P, L, Y, and don't forget the D. Well, that's exactly what I wanted to talk to you about. Thank you very much.